Okay, time for an introduction. We're going to do a slideshow today, and I'm George of George and Aurora. I'm George. This is our talking head video. The talking head portion is now over, so let's go to a slideshow. I've been intending to do a slideshow sometime, and we're in level 4 quarantine, so no time better than now. Got to turn you back around. Okay, this is our Baje Kubo view, looking out towards the road, front gate on the upper left corner. A motorcycle's hiding over there. We bought this Kubo in 2014. We done a little patching on the bamboo when it got damaged here and there, but other than that, it's holding up really well. Highly recommend it. First thing you need after water on the site for mixing concrete is somewhere to sit. And normally this blue jug down here that's off the screen is sitting up here with ice water, but apparently they're filling it up right now. That's the spare water down below. Okay, let's have a slide. There we go. This view will be 2018. I can tell because we've got the upper slab of concrete over the house, except for a big round hole right in the middle of the building. It's 24 feet across. The construction stairs are not as bad a shape as they look, and the roof things are actually round, and the columns are actually pretty near vertical. Over here on the left, this is just a work platform that we use for working around the house. This is before we put the concrete gutter in, so they have some pieces they strap onto the side of this to make it level enough to work. And that's our mixing barrel. This is the door we go in and out of the house with at this point. All the other ones are blocked up with 2x2 wire mesh, as are the windows and all the openings. So this is the only one we have anything coming in and out of. And there's a closer view of it. And you can see on the wall, there's 2x2 welded wire mesh. It's on the, that's what we're doing right now. That's why that scaffolding thing was in the yard. We're putting it over the entire house, every vertical surface. And that's going to be reinforcing for our render. I have a tendency to jerk the camera when I push the button. What looks like out of focus here is really welded wire mesh. And that might be what messed the camera focused up. Hadn't thought about that. It's possible that's what's doing it. Where are we? Master bedroom. That's Benji on the top, Ruhel down here. That's Joe Mel. And this is a friend of Joe Mel's that's in for rendering. He's not a permanent crew. Of course, the job lasted 4 or 5 months, so I guess he's permanent at the moment. Okay, this is the problem area of rendering for us, was that this wall and beam and everything are really one solid casting, and there's a 45-degree angle between the bottom of the beam and this. It just sort of radiuses that fillet, so it's not got a stress concentration there, which would crack the paint. And this is the welded wire mesh is actually 2 layers thick here. That's a wire and that's a wire. And Joe Mel's the guy that really took to doing this. In fact, when he got so good at it, everybody else has stepped out of the way. We won't put render on the ceilings. But the way we anchor this wire, we could put it on the ceilings. But we're just going to skim coat the ceiling. I don't really see any need to put it up there. Like we got a little crease here in the plastic. They'll put 2 coats of skim coat anyway. And this first one will have a sort of a damp line on it for about an hour, but it won't crack or pull away. And the second one will be flat. And then they sand it and put a second coat on. And we bought these scaffolds. Actually had them made next to a Tobacco or SM store. You go out the front door, not the buses, but the jeepney end, and turn right. You go down there to Anduk's Chicken, about a block, and it's behind Anduk's Chicken. They're about half the price of anywhere else, and they come with pieces that fit in here to stack them up, and walkways that are expanded metal that with like a factory looking in that locks around these tubing so that if you step on the end of it, it won't flip up. And they have these quick lock fasteners on them. They're just the same thing you get if you pay full price for them through like a hardware store. You can get them in any gauge of pipe you want. You can get them black. These are called GI for galvanized iron. These are the lightweight ones because we want to be able to move them around. And they're 2.5 years old now. We've had 0 problems with any of them. Not a bit of trouble, except the welded wire mesh has got some low spots in it from weight. You know, people standing close together and whatever. If he was in focus, that would be Joe Mel. This red up here is paint. We painted our forms about the second or third time we used them because we stuck some concrete to them. And this is the gift that just keeps on giving. Every once in a while, a bunch of it comes off. It might be the vibrator loosens it up. I'm not sure. Don't know what room this is. There's 10 segments to the outer part of the house. The only one this cannot be is the master bathroom because it's got a wall across at 6 feet, and the electrical room would be where he's standing. And there's Joe Mel reaching down to get some render. He does the part from the scaffold down to the floor a lot of the times, and he'll work that with the scaffold in place. When you see bright red, like red pants and stuff, you can bet that's Benji. He does like bright colored clothes. This is the foreman of our job. He lives on site. Name is Boyette. His brother Dodung, Boy, he's what we turned into an iron worker. Nane, that's I think he's the second oldest, and maybe Nane's the oldest. He's saying, "What are you doing? Do you have to do that? Can you point it to somebody else?" You'll notice he wears gum boots and a hat inside. Don't know why, but you know he's at work when he's doing that. If he's outside, the straw hat turns into a plastic construction hat. He just apparently moved those forms out of the way. He's done the top half of that wall on the forms, and now he's going to do the bottom. So he's just shifting them someplace else, and got caught in the act. This is the gang having a prayer meeting. We're having a nativity scene grotto in the yard for my wife. That was a trade so she wouldn't put 10 of the 12 disciples on the roof and a big cross out of the center of the house. She's the one that puts the capital C in Catholic. Anyway, my trade was I wouldn't put tiki figures around the 10 upper posts. And by not doing that, I had to trade her something. And I traded her this grotto. And I didn't specify how big the figures could be. They're taller than she is. And you can see this has also got the 2x2 welded wire mesh. and it's not just the figures, it's everybody that she can find a Bible reference to. It's a whole crowd. This is a form that's going to be used upstairs at the ends of the air vent. They'll have these like rounded ends, and this squared off part will be concrete back here. These are waiting, having some sheet metal stuck on them. You know, it wraps around all the little flat bars. And we haven't done those yet. They've been sitting about 1.5 years. We sit on them, or tables or whatever, but we will use them to pour that concrete. The reason for the pour is we have some exposed conduit that didn't fit inside the spider beam, and it's sort of sticking out up there. So we're going to bury it behind these. This is the master bathroom. This is one of our sheep, part of the nativity scene. These 2 holes here are to put a pump and filter inside the electrical room behind that wall for a jacuzzi sits right here. And here's the group again with, this is a cow, and that's the baby donkey. There's also a big donkey. And you can see the welded wire mesh everywhere. Some more of the paint that keeps on giving. A vent window up here. There's 9 of those. That's because there's 2, 4, 5, 6 bathrooms in the house. That sounds light. I think there's 7, but I can think of 6. Master bathroom. This window form comes out, and the master bedroom was behind that wall. And that's the same sheep we looked at a minute ago. This is from the master bedroom looking into the master bathroom, and there's the window form. We have internal windows in the house. Just so we have, well, it saves concrete. It's a point of interest, and it lets light and air circulate. So we have 2 of these basically in the same 180 degrees of the house. Now, we didn't make any effort to clean these floors because nobody knew we were going to take pictures. But that's how flat our floors are without any grinding or tile or anything on them. The floor itself is flat. Boyette does the finishing. Of course, Nane does finishing too, but Boyette did all these floors. And you can tell from the ceiling up here, which is not rendered. The wall is rendered, and the beam up here is rendered, but no render on the ceilings. And that's ready for skim coat just when you take the forms up and underneath of it. Our forms are 4x8 sheets of 3/4. That's like 18 millimeter phenolic board. We put, when we're doing flat stuff like this, we pull a piece of polyethylene over it. You don't want phenolic board that's halfway stuck to a ceiling and trying to jerk it down out of the way you're standing underneath of it. So we make sure that we take the supports out, it just falls off the ceiling. It's just a matter of somebody, usually 2 guys holding the ends of it up, and somebody else takes the stands up from underneath of it, and then they just lower it down to the guy on the floor. It takes about 3 people to take all the staging down when we do a roof. These blocks in the wall are pieces of phenolic board screwed together. Those are placeholders for 3 gangs of receptacles both sides of the wall. Let's go another picture. Oh, okay, this is what the 2x2 welded wire mesh looks like before we stick it on the wall. This is second floor, the fan housing floor. You can tell because it goes down, it has an offset, and it goes down the rest of the way. I don't know how many of them are there. But we did these all on site with a couple of 2x4 good wood with some homemade hinges on the end on our work table, and some paint marks on the table to where the stop the sheet before we pull the handle to bend it. And the angle was didn't have a stop. It was bended to it looks right to me. So there's slight differences in these angles, but you can tell how close they are to being exactly the same because they stack tight. I mean, give these guys the littlest bit of equipment to work with, and they turned out some great stuff. And these were fishermen and rice farmers and people that make grass mats. None of them had built a house before. The little dots all over this wall, those are the through bolts that tied the inside and outside form together. This is a piece of 3/4 PVC pipe. That sets the thickness of the wall. This wall here had 7-inch PVC pipe because our door jambs here with this center rib and everything all cast in when we do the pour. Now this was, when you looked at it before the pour, this was just forms on both sides. And this thing, this shape was inside of it. It's the couple ribs for to make this, the half round piece we'll see later up here. And the bottom had a sheet of like 1/2-inch plywood nailed onto these pieces that go here. That kept it rectangular and plumb and everything when we poured it. And there's supposed to be 2 dowel pins down through here. And we'll show you later what happened when you don't put the dowel pins in. Major screw up. Okay, this is going to be the stairwell room. You can see an outline of the bottom of the stairs here. I would assume this is the forms, not the actual stairs. I think this is the wooden forms. This goes out to what's going to be our fish tank outside, our tilapia pond. It's got a standard round window, and it's not as dark in there as it looks like. It's pointing the camera into the sun that makes it dark. Tell you what, we're going to stop this video because they get so long, and I can control the length of these ones. We're going to pause this